Hi, my name is Jeremy Stevens. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title of today's video, how I built $1 million rental arbitrage business in less than 1 year, which tells you I'm no one special. I promise you, if you wait till the end, I'm going to tell you all the tips and tricks from where I started from the beginning all the way to the end. And if you wait till the end of the video, you too can also build a 7-figure rental arbitrage business in less than 1 year. Before we even dive deep into it, I need to tell you where I started prior to even getting into this business, because again, I'm no one special. You can do this too. I don't come from millions and millions of money. I'm not a trust fund baby. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm just like you, which is why I made this video, because I promise you, you can do this too. And of course, I have been an entrepreneur. For all my viewers that are back, I have been an entrepreneur for quite some time, but it wasn't until I started this rental arbitrage business that it really put me over the top as far as my financial trajectory in life. And so that's why I'm here today to explain everything from A to Z on how I got started, how easy it is to get started, but you need to know the tools in order to reach that goal. So sit back and I'm going to tell you all about it. What is rental arbitrage? So rental arbitrage is where you're actually leasing an apartment or a house or some type of property that you do not own. I'm going to say this again. You do not own this property. You have no equity in this. You're making 0 mortgage payments. Now you are making lease payments because you are renting. You are renting, and what the rental arbitrage kind of landscape means to a property owner is called a corporate lease. So when you say, hey, I'm looking to do an arbitrage deal, that automatically tells the owner that this is now a corporate lease. Corporate lease literally just says that you are looking to run a business out of this space. So you do not own this. You have no mortgages. You have no equity in this deal. You are typically just doing this for cash flow purposes and for profit purposes. This doesn't go towards your net worth or anything like that, because it's not an asset that you can sell. It is just a cash vehicle. So rental arbitrage equals that you are leasing an apartment or a property or a house, whatever you decide to move forward with, and you are just telling the property owner that you are now looking to run a business out of this entity, also known as a corporate lease. So how I typically find these places that allow these corporate leases is you have to do your research. You're going to have to cold call. You're going to have to pick up the phone and call different apartment complexes. This is the part that actually sucks, because until you find a deal, you can't move forward with anybody. Because if you move forward with a corporate lease that doesn't get approved, you get into a ton of legal trouble, and we don't want that. That's not what this is for. This is all legal as long as you get written approval. So you're going to have to pick up the phone, call different places, call different properties. You're going to call different apartments. You're going to get on Zillow.com. You're going to get on Realtor.com and see places that are for rent. And you're going to give them a call and say, hey, my name is Jeremy Stevens. I'm looking to do a corporate lease. Do you guys allow that? I promise you, you're going to get more no's than yeses, but the yeses that you do get, you'll continue to scale. And especially if it's just a single sole property owner, and let's say they own a multi-family unit, let's say they own a whole apartment complex, you can continue to get more and more units there, and you can literally build your whole business right from there. Now that I've gotten a yes, the property owner says, hey, Jeremy, I do allow that. Let's go ahead and move forward. So I'm going to go into this house or property or apartment, and we're going to talk about leasing contracts, etc. So I'm going to sign a lease just like any other renter. Again, you are just a renter, just like you buy any, or just like you enter any other apartment complex or house. You will sign lease papers, and you are now paying rent to that property owner. And once those contracts are signed, now you're able to furnish the place and list the listing on your favorite website. And we'll kind of get into what websites I love the most to find tenants. My favorite websites that I have the bulk of my business in are A, Furnish Finder, and B, Airbnb. Airbnb is not dead. It may be dead in certain markets, but it's still very profitable. And like I said, Furnish Finder are mainly traveling healthcare professionals. This makes up the bulk of my business. And these are the two sites that I absolutely love and have been doing for a year now. And they've treated me phenomenally. and that's where I make my money. Airbnb and Furnish Finder are different because Furnish Finder are typically your traveling healthcare professionals. They're staying for 13 weeks at a time, typically. Airbnb, it's more ran like a hotel, and you are cleaning it nightly. These people are staying 1 to 2 nights minimum, all the way up to, some Airbnb guests can stay longer than, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. But typically it's just 1 to 2 night stays, and you're running it just like a hotel. You got to clean it after every stay, etc. That's why I've geared more towards Furnish Finder with the more long-term tenants, because it is a less hassle. It's more passive. It's treated more like just a traditional renter. And that's what I built the bulk of my business on. So with Airbnb, there's pros and cons, because I will say that Airbnb is a little bit more profitable. I do make more monthly passive income from Airbnb. But you got to count your losses. You got to count your wins when you can, because with Furnish Finder, they are staying longer, meaning less cleanings. That means I have to pay less money to my cleaners. And there's just less communication, because typically once they move in, they no longer need me anymore. And as long as they pay on time on a monthly basis, we are all good to go. So again, you kind of have to weigh your pros and cons depending on what market you're in. Especially in my particular market, Airbnb is like popping in the summer. So I tend to gear more towards Airbnb during, in the summer, and Furnish Finder more kind of in the colder months, I would say. Again, Furnish Finder does make up the bulk of my business, but both are great, again, depending on your market. We obviously have signed the lease at this point. We know where to make the listing. Well, where the heck do I even get the furniture? Because before I can even list the property, I need to know where to buy the furniture. And for me, I'm typically going to Amazon, Wayfair, and Walmart. These people are typically not looking for, at least in my market, they're not looking for luxury style places. I'm not in the Arizona, Scottsdale market. I'm not in the California market. I'm not in the Nashville, Tennessee kind of bachelorette party market. So these people aren't looking for luxury stays. They're just looking for comfortable stays. I typically go for 1 bedroom, 1 bath. That's kind of my sweet spot. Anything bigger than that, you're really kind of dealing with a lot of parties, etc. That's not what I'm about at all. I don't like hosting those types of guests. And so you are typically finding that these people that I'm hosting with the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, they're low maintenance, and I found it great and kind of low cost, high quality at Amazon, Wayfair, Walmart. It works just fine. We signed the lease, we got the furniture, everything's ready to go, and now it's time to take photos. For me, I consider my camera skills to be decent, so I just take all of the photos on my iPhone. I may throw a filter on them here and there, and then I just list them on the platform. So for Airbnb, you have to have a host account. Most people who have never been an Airbnb host before probably just have a traveler account, so you will need a host account. And Airbnb, kind of a pro to that is that it is really user-friendly, so they make it very, very easy in order to create your listing. Furnish Finder, not as easy. It's not, the interface is a little bit difficult, but after you have done this a while, and if you have any difficulties, you can always call customer service with Furnish Finder in particularly. But again, I can use those same exact photos, so it doesn't need to switch up. As far as photos go, I can use those same exact photos that I posted on Airbnb, transfer them over to Furnish Finder, make my listing, and voila, you'll now have tenants flowing in. So with Airbnb, as far as payments go, Airbnb has to take fees, right? That's how they stay in business. With Furnish Finder, it's just a one-time yearly fee. So I just pay one time, once a year, and that's how that Furnish Finder fee. So let me go back to Airbnb. With Airbnb, again, they take fees. So Airbnb actually takes the not the cut. How do I want to say this? They take the payment from the guest. Airbnb then pays me, the host. So again, Airbnb collects the payment from the guest, then Airbnb pays me. Airbnb typically will pay me a day after they check in, okay? So that's the Airbnb side. With Furnish Finder in particular, after the Furnish Finder app or website plays matchmaker, meaning once the guest actually reaches out to me, the host, and says, hey, I'm Jeremy and I see your place here. I would love to stay there. After they reach out to me on Furnish Finder, we no longer need Furnish Finder anymore. Furnish Finder plays matchmaker, and everything after that is done off of the app or the website. So I have my own lease agreement. I collect my own payments. I have my own payment platforms that I send to them. And after that, we're done. So that's the kind of difference. And because of that, I'm actually getting paid up front from Furnish Finder versus after the guest checks in with Airbnb, then Airbnb pays me. But with Furnish Finder, I actually take the money up front to secure the space so the tenant can secure the space. And then actually, I then no longer have to wait for payment anymore. So that's kind of the big difference in I collect the payment for Furnish Finder, Airbnb collects the payment for that platform. So again, you have to weigh your options. Both are great. Airbnb, again, is more profitable, but Furnish Finder is still great. So that's why I utilize both. When it comes to payment platforms for Furnish Finder in particular, I like to collect payments on Venmo, Zelle, Cash App. I do accept credit card, but I do charge a 4.5% fee because the credit card platform that I utilize is Square and they take their fees. So I have to charge fees as well so that I can collect the full payment. I would say that this method definitely works in most markets, especially for Furnish Finder, because most markets have hospitals. Pretty much every town, I don't care how small or big, you're gonna have hospitals. And the travel nursing, traveling healthcare professional industry is so large, especially right now. Unfortunately, people will always be sick. So there's always gonna be kind of a shortage of healthcare professionals. And because of this, you can take advantage in most markets. My particular market, this space is completely booming. And that's why I took advantage. I saw an opportunity. I saw a shortage in housing being provided for these traveling healthcare professionals, which is why I scaled to the 7-figure income in the business where I am today, simply because I saw a shortage, I saw an opportunity. I made a couple mistakes along the way, but now I've been in the game for quite some time, which is why I'm even sharing this with you now. So it does work in most markets. You're gonna have to do your research, do your due diligence. I always tell people to do their research first before they hop into anything, but I promise you, in most markets, yes, this will absolutely work. Now for the good part. The big pro to rental arbitrage in a nutshell is the low barrier for entry. I mean, my gosh, you don't have to put down a 20% down payment just to get into a deal versus a mortgage. You are literally having to put down 5, 10, 20% just to get into a house. So that's kind of the beauty of renting. So most of the time, the apartment, the house, they're only looking for first month's rent. And after you pay first month's rent, you have to furnish it. And again, I already told you guys, I'm using Amazon, Wayfair, Walmart. So these prices are going to be low, especially if you're buying, or especially if you're leasing 1 to 2 bedroom places. Most of my units are less than $2,000 just to furnish this place, which is why I have so many. I've scaled to a 30 unit portfolio because I saw demand and I executed. That's what it comes down to. Demand, execution. And if you can do and find those two things, you also can scale very quickly. Now that we know how much it costs to furnish a unit, how much am I actually seeing in profit per unit? And so this is a real example because most of my rents are $1,500. So $1,500, that's including utilities, parking, etc. So if I take $1,500, I'm paying that per unit. I'm seeing from a revenue standpoint anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500. Now, this number is fluctuated because in the colder months, especially in my market, I am seeing a little bit of a dip. So it's more on the lower end, closer to the 3,000 mark. But again, in the summer, it's a little bit spiked because more people are traveling to my market, especially for Airbnb. I can charge a little bit more. So that's why I say $3,000 to $3,500 in revenue. So if I subtract that minus my expenses, again, the $1,500, I'm seeing anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 of true profit every month. You times that by 30, that's how much profit I'm making per month. Now you see why this has been life-changing for me, and this has been all done within 1 year. And I said this at the beginning of the video. I'm no one special. I'm just like you. And if I can do this, you can too. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Be sure to subscribe, and I'm going to be right back talking about more real estate finances and especially rental arbitrage. This is exactly how you get out of the rat race and level up.